Magandang Miyerkules sa inyong lahat. 79 days na lang, Pasko na. Welcome sa October 7, 2020 edition ng The Stock Market Today. Ako po si Benji Chidoro, nag-aanyaya na samahan niyo ako at sabay nating tignan ang pinaka-latest na balita tungkol sa ating paboritong stocks. Kasama po dyan ang Petron, ABS CBN at Infradev o IRC sa stock code sa PSE. At ang resulta ng trading sa ating PSE ngayong araw, October 7, 2020, dito lamang sa The Stock Market Today. Bago po ang lahat, basahin po muna natin ang ating mga reminders. At habang binabasa natin to, kung first time nyo dito sa ating channel, ay nag-start lang po ako na magbigay ng daily stock market report noong August. At inaanyayahan ko po kayo na mag-subscribe sa aking channel para palagi po tayong updated sa mga balita at impormasyon tungkol sa stock market at ang mga active stocks sa merkado. Ako po ay isang retired employee ng isa sa pinakamalaking bangko sa Pilipinas. Naging OFW din po ako nung ma-assign po ako sa aming branch sa Hong Kong bilang head ng compliance at mga 8 months din po akong namalagi sa ibang bansa. At pagkatapos doon ay na-assign po ako, di man dapat na maging Chief Compliance Officer ng isang subsidiary ng bangko. And since early 2000 ay nag-start po akong mag-invest regularly sa UITFs at pagkatapos ay sa stocks. Dito po muna tayo sa ating mga balita. Ang una nating balita ay mula sa Philippine Star. Ito po ay balita mula sa resulta ng stock market yesterday. Foreign selling trumps health weigh down stocks. With unabated foreign selling and concerns over the health of US President Trump, the stock market slipped anew below the 6,000 mark yesterday. The reason for that was net foreign selling of 863 million pesos. According to Luis Linlingan of Regina Capital, local shares continue to slide on continued speculation about President Trump's health and response to COVID-19 treatments and concerns for additional fiscal stimulus, both potentially poised to blunt the pandemic stall. According to WHO, there is an estimated 10% of the global population that may have been affected by the pandemic. Okay, our next news is on Infradev. Infradev in share deal for Makati Subway. Listed Philippine Infradev Holdings is issuing shares to the local government of Makati City as part of its Makati City Subway project. In a disclosure to the PSE on Tuesday, the company said that the SEC approved its application for the valuation of its convertible preferred shares. The company will issue 656,655,400 convertible preferred shares valued at 6.57 billion to be paid for Makati properties which have a total appraised value for the same amount. And this means that since the preferred shares will be given or will be transferred to the local government of Makati, the company Infradev has now ownership of Makati properties to be covered on the subway. The Philippine Infradev is building a $3.5 billion subway that will traverse the central business district of Makati City. The project will have 10 stations stretched across 10 kilometers across the city. I think I have a picture of that. Let me find out where it is. I think this is the picture. Yes, this is the picture that I took when I went to the municipio the other day. And as you will see, the subway will run through, this is EDSA, it will run through Ayala, all the way to straight to Rizal, JP Rizal, to the municipio, and then down to the University of Makati. So hindi siya circular, it's a endpoint to endpoint track. Dapat ginawa na lang ng circular crossing global city. Pero in the future sana ganun. And our last, okay, there's another one on ABS CBN. ABS CBN entertainment content to return on free TV this Saturday. So this we already know that ABS CBN had an agreement with Zoe Broadcasting Network, and the network was rebranded as A to Z Channel 11. So some of the shows of ABS CBN will be showing there starting this Saturday. And if you'll notice, the ABS CBN shares increased by 14.9%, and the Holdings Corporation also climbed to 16.03. And finally, we have this news from Philippine Star on Petron. Petron mulls shutdown of Bataan Refinery. Petron Corporation, the country's biggest oil refiner, may shut down its refinery in Bataan if its appeal to the government for a level playing field in the industry will fall on deaf ears, according to its president and CEO, Ramon Ang. Okay, the reason for the threatened shutdown is that we can read through this paragraph. Ang said that under the current tax regime, it is more viable to just import crude oil because importers are taxed only once when their products exit their terminals or depots. On the other hand, refiners are slapped excise taxes upon arrival of their crude and raw materials on the finished products. That's our news for the day, October 7, 2020. Let's see how the Philippine Stock Exchange Index fared today. Good morning po. It's 11:58 and this is our intraday report. So far, ABS CBN is at 13 pesos from an opening of 11.98. And the most active stocks are, number 1 is Dito, number 2 is NOW, number 3 is MPI, number 4 is ABS, and number 5 is C. And if we'll take a look at Dito, it's now at 607. It's down 10.87%. Now is at 455, down 8.63%, while ABS is flying high. Opened at 11.98, up 46.67%. So naka-jackpot po ang nakabili dito. So that's our status report for today. And I'll see you around right after trading in the afternoon. This is Benji Chidoro saying bye for now and see you later. The Philippine Stock Exchange finished at 5867.88 or 42.76 points lower than the previous close. That's 0.72% decline. So the PSE registered a decline today. And let's take a look at the summary. 101 companies advanced, 92 declined, while 48 remained unchanged. Total volume is 1.81 billion, valued at 7.11 billion. There was net foreign selling at 1.29 billion. If we take a look at the indices, only 2 out of the 7 indices registered a positive result. The financials and the mining, while the holding companies, the industrials and the properties and services were in the red. The financials registered a net foreign buying of 13.20 million. So let's take a look at the most active stocks. We will be reviewing Dito, MPI, NOW, ICT, TEL, ABS, BDO, Marymart, NIKL, C, and IRC. So let's go now to the first stock that we will review. That's Dito. Earlier, when we had our intraday, I reported that Dito and NOW are in the red, while ABS was surging. Okay, Dito ended at 5.77. That's 1.04 points lower, or 15.27% lower. It's an engulfing candlestick. And if you will take a look at intraday, the intraday started here. It started with a higher opening price, but in the next 10 minutes, it dipped with a long candlestick and continued to go down until there was a reversal at 10:10 in the morning. And after that, it dipped a little, then continued to consolidate until the closing price of 577. I'm using the 5-minute chart. Okay, and what do I think of the stock? Again, I was saying that I expect the stock to move higher, but with the engulfing candlestick now, I think that the stock will move sideways first because Dito had a good thing going with them. It's the new towers from the streamlined permits that were given to the telcos, plus their extended deadline, and everybody is bullish about the stock. So for Dito, I expect it first to move sideways, and let's see where the nearest resistance is. The nearest resistance that I see is it's 6.27. That's the first resistance. It's 6.27. If it breaks that resistance, the higher resistance would be somewhere here, 6.95. No, I'm sorry, it's not 6.95. It should be higher. That should be about 7. The next resistance will be 7. The next resistance will be 8. The first resistance will be about the 7 peso line there. Now, if it will continue its consolidation, I see a support in this area. Actually, this is a support already. It's 5.76, 5.75. This one. Let's take a look at the next stock, MPI. MPI had this buyback program, and right now, it increased, the stock price increased by 0.07, and it's already at a resistance level. It may continue to move up, and I expect the next resistance here. Nandarito yung next resistance dyan. Let me get the 1-week chart. The 430 yung next resistance dyan. Because there is a support here which will become a resistance. There's another support here, or resistance here, which makes me say that the next resistance will be at 430. Now the near support that I see it here, in this level. Yeah, yan yung near support niya. If you want me to take a look at your stock, you can drop a comment and I will review it. And I'll do the best I can to review the stock. But actually, MPI is moving upwards. You see the indicators. I use the 20-day exponential moving average represented by the orange line, and the 50-day exponential moving average, which is represented by the blue line. That is my medium-term indicator, and my long-term indicator is the 100-day exponential moving average represented by the black line. So in reality, MPI had been moving upwards, and of course, ito yung nakikita kong channel niya. The slight overshoot lang, but yan yung pinaka-channel niya. Yan, di ba? Yan yung pinaka-channel ng MPI. Okay, so let's now take a look at NOW. Another very active stock. At nag-decline to, no? Then it's an engulfing candlestick. Actually, it filled the gap made between Monday and Tuesday, and it declined by 15.06%. Actually, there is an above average volume, so I expect the stock to probably move downwards or move sideways. So bumaba yung kasi yung volume niya from the previous day. I expected the stock to move upwards, but contrary to my view, it went down. I expect the stock to consolidate first before moving upwards kasi very bullish siya. If you'll take a look at the DMI, Directional Movement Index, mataas pa rin siya. It's 58 or almost 59. A DMI of 30 would indicate a upward bullish trend. Okay, so let's take a look at the support and resistance. So based on the 1-week chart, the support, nearest support is here, 430, and the nearest resistance that I see is, balik natin sa 1 week. 1 day, I'm sorry. The nearest support, rather, is here. Dito na lang, huwag na tayong lumayo. We can say that the nearest support is here, mga 641 din. No? Although na-plot ko siya higher, but to be conservative, the highest point here, which is 639, is our nearest support. I mean nearest resistance. Minsan na-interchange ko yung support and resistance, but what I meant was the higher mark, or the higher level where sellers would outnumber buyers. That's the resistance. Where the point where buyers outnumber sellers is the support. And where do I expect the stock to go? I expect the stock to move sideways before probably moving upwards. So next, we now go to ICT. Okay, ICT. Okay, ICT continues to sideways siya sandali, but actually the general movement of the stock is upwards because the EMA20 is below the candlestick. And if you make a channel or a trend line out of this, let's see, i-parallel channel natin. It started here, and there's just a slight overshoot there. Just a slight overshoot here. Okay, so that is the upward channel that I see for ICT, although it ended 3.70 points lower than the previous close. Now, I would say that the nearest support would be the EMA20, and the EMA20 is now at 110.31. So I would say that that is the nearest support, 110. And the nearest resistance, actually, for the stock, nearest resistance dyan. That's not the one way. Masyado nang malayo kasi yung... Okay. The nearest resistance is here. 122.41. Dyan. Ang nearest resistance dyan. So, I expect the stock to move sideways, or if there is volume, then the stock would continue to move up. Kasi ito parang nagpahinga lang siya. Nag-rest lang siya before moving further up. Or it may continue to consolidate before moving upwards. Kasi dito nagkaroon ng surge or breakout. And normally, after a breakout, the stock moves sideways, characterized by a decreased volume. So I expect to move the stock to move sideways before moving upwards. So let's take a look at TEL. Okay, TEL is 40 points lower at 12.99. So if you see the EMA20 is about to cross the EMA50, and the candlestick is below these two indicators, indicating a bearish sentiment. However, the closing price also crossed the EMA100, indicating a bearish sentiment. So wala namang news dito, no? Just the normal thing. It's nasa support siya. Nasa support si Tele. And this support here would be there is a support here that would characterize the closing price of 1299. So dyan siya nag-stop. Maaring bumaba pa ng konti. And if the decline continues, ang pinaka next lower support niya is here. 1252. However, PLDT is a very good company. It may probably go down a little, then move up again. There was net foreign selling on the stock. Next, we go to ABS. Sorry. ABS has a surge today. 1350. Alam niyo ba nangyari dito? Nag-stop siya sa 1350. You know why? Because it reached a ceiling limit. Meron palang ganon sa PSE. There is a previous close of 9, no? And if that price the following day increased by a max of 50%, then what will happen is that the trading will stop, and that will be the maximum price for the day. So that's essentially what happened. Actually, trading didn't stop. Nawalan lang ng ask side. Kaya nagtataka ako kung bakit walang ask eh. Kasi in-stop yung trading, and that is the maximum price. Okay? Meron lang bid pero walang ask. And that is the reason why. So the 1350 is the maximum price for the day. And kailan ba nag-stop to? Mga 11 o'clock nag-stop to eh. Napansin ko, kaya tinanong ko yung aking broker bakit nag-stop eh. Sa 5-minute chart, nag-stop siya at 11:10. Nung nag-intraday ako, mga 11 pa lang yun eh. And tumatakbo pa si ABS CBN. Maraming nakabang sa ABS CBN because there are a lot of buyers on the stock. Nasa bid lang yung presyo, walang sellers eh. Everybody wants to buy. And that's because of the good news that ABS struck a deal with Zoe Broadcasting. And they will start broadcast this Saturday featuring most of the ABS CBN shows. Okay, so let's take a look at BDO. I think BDO had a positive bounce today. Okay, nasa support siya actually. And BDO had been moving in this area for a long time. So nagko-consolidate lang siya. You see that? And nearest resistance is here. And ang BDO is a very good stock eh. Mahusay na kumpanya yan. And hindi basta-basta mahusay din ang mga officers dyan. No? Okay, so support and resistance lang yung galawan niya ngayon. Pero if you think of it, just like what I've been saying in the previous days, ito yung movement ng stock. Talagang 161.80 yung highest niya. Itong January lang yan. Meron net foreign buying of 932 million. Okay, let's take a look at Merrimart. Okay, Merrimart nagko-consolidate lang. So not much activity, but there was net foreign buying of 11.66. So lang, if the indicator, the EMA 50 and the EMA 20 is just piercing through, then it's just consolidating. Kung Bollinger ba na gagamitin natin, parang sausage na manipis siya. Yan o. Diba? Ang nipis ng volatility niya. Halos ang movement niya ay very narrow. So support and resistance lang ang galaw niya. And let me check. Ito lang yung support. Ito yung nearest support. Ito yung nearest resistance niya. Here. Let me check kung merong accumulation. Okay, the line here represents volume. And so far, it is above zero, representing that there is probably some accumulation going on in the stock. So, just one day, baka lang mag-break out yung stock because of that accumulation. And the longer kasi the consolidation, the longer the potential of a breakout or a breakdown. Okay, so Merrimart ended at 3 pesos or flat, negative 0.02 decline from the previous day. Let's take a look at NIKL. Uy, NIKL had a good day with volume. So consolidate siya dito, biglang nagkaroon ng volume. But this is a breakout. And makikita lang natin kung tingnan natin yung exponential. Yan. Okay, mataas yung RSI. And this is a solid candlestick. So, nearest resistance niya ay hindi natin yung 1 week. Malayo na eh. Actually, 3.47 ang nearest niya eh. Pero the higher level than that, ang higher level resistance niya is 405. Pero ang pinaka-nearest is 374. Yan, 378, 375 ang nearest resistance niya. Ngayon, if volume is sustained, then the stock will move higher. Kasi pumantay lang siya dito eh. And it's 9.24%. I'm sorry, I'm using the weekly pala. Balik natin sa 1 day. Tama, 9.24%. So it may move upwards if there is volume. But pwedeng mag-consolidate muna yan. I think that the stock is bullish because the candlestick is above the hour 3 indicators. Next, let's take a look at C. Another very active stock. Ito sumusunod to sa dito eh. Oh, it had a red engulfing candlestick. So bumagsak si C. Bumagsak din si dito siguro. Yeah, kanina we reviewed dito. Ang nearest support niya that I see dito. Here. And the nearest resistance, bago siya mauntog, I see it here. Actually, nag-overshoot lang siya. Pero in reality, support and resistance are not exact points in the chart. They are areas. What do I expect the stock? I expect the stock to move sideways before probably moving upwards. And finally, let's take a look at IRC. IRC, ito yung feature ko kanina, di ba? Intradev. Philippine Intradev Holdings, yung may hawak ng kontrata ng Makati Subway. So it finished 10 points higher a 0.10 higher or 7.69%. And although it's a small candlestick, there is little volume. So, baka mag-sideways muna siya or it may continue to move higher. Kasi dito nag-profit taking eh. Tapos, merong sign of, a sign of a reversal. And that sign of reversal may mean that it may move higher or just continue in its sideways direction. Okay po. Yan po ang ating report sa stock market, October 7, 2020. Thank God it's a Wednesday. Abangan nyo nga pala ang aking special episode sa PSEI Index, All You Need to Know About the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Malapit na po ipalabas. Ito po si Benji Chadoro, laging nagpapaalala, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Magkita-kita po tayo muli sa next episode. Maraming salamat and bye for now.